You know who wants to know when the open beta is going to come out? Everybody, including the devs. Every day that passes, a trailer for the beta becomes more and more likely. Today, before I miss my chance to speculate about this thing, I wanted to go over everything we currently know about this open beta, and when we could possibly see it release. So here's what's up. The open beta will feature new characters, and it will act as a launch for the game, provided no game-breaking bugs are found. I've already gone over what's been found in the files and data mines to predict which characters I think are most likely to show up in the beta. Go ahead and click the annotation on screen if that's something that interests you. We also know that Player First Games are no longer working on the open beta, they're working on future content. Warner Games QA is currently looking over the beta to make sure everything's all good. The release date completely depends on them, and not even Tony knows when the game is going to release. Shout out to D-Man on Twitter for asking Tony all of this. MVS Leaks said QA takes 5 to 10 days, which should translate to 1 to 2 weeks. I would hope the QA team still gets weekends off while checking over MultiVersus. QA started on June 29th, which was when this DM was sent. MultiVersus sponsored this week on Xbox, and the PlayStation Store started advertising the game. MultiVersus has a behind-the-scenes panel at Comic-Con, which takes place between July 21st and July 24th. And finally, EVO signups for MultiVersus will end on July 9th. That's pretty much all we know from MultiVersus, and I'm going to go over each of these facts and kind of explain what they could mean for the game. Starting with QA, since I've already covered the possible new characters, I actually think this is potentially bad news. MultiVersus Leaks said that these DMs took place on the 29th on Twitter, but that's not a good thing. The very next day after these DMs, Tony tweeted about how exhausted he was after crushing every bug in the game. Why would he be fixing bugs if QA already started? Well, it means they found something, and they sent it back with a list of found bugs. This isn't entirely bad news though, as Tony has been tweeting about how he's been working on future content nearly every day since June 30th. That hopefully means that QA is going a lot smoother. With QA taking about 1 to 2 weeks though, this still means that the earliest possible time they could wrap things up is July 6th, which is tomorrow. I know people will say that MVS Leaks said 5 to 10 days, not 1 to 2 weeks, but that definitely means business days. You can't work on the game if you're not at work, right? 5 business days make up a week, and again, I really hope QA isn't having to sacrifice their weekends to get MultiVersus out on time. Likely, QA just needs to make sure that this open beta build isn't breaking anything that the previous build didn't. I will also say that I think it's more likely that this QA takes closer to 10 days than 5, since this is the launch of the game, and I'm sure they'd want to be as thorough as possible. I mean, this is the build where we can spend money, so I'm sure they want to make a really good impression. If they take the full 10 days, the earliest they could be wrapping up QA is July 13th, so sadly, I do not think we're going to see a trailer for the game this week, especially since there are steps after QA. It's not like QA ends and the game is magically on the store the next day. The trailer for this game needs a release date attached, and that won't be known until after QA is done. So after QA, they need to edit the trailer so the release date is attached. They need to release the trailer, and the last trailer released days before the game came out. So yeah, it's looking pretty bleak for a week 1 release. I'd love to be wrong, but I really don't think I am. Even though MultiVersus did sponsor this week on Xbox, and yeah, I can see why that'd raise a couple eyebrows. I think this could still easily be explained away, and I just think it's likely that MultiVersus is going to sponsor every This Week on Xbox for the month of July. Keep in mind, sponsorships like this aren't made overnight, and they probably set this up weeks ago. There's no way they would know the release date weeks ago if they still don't know the release date now. Another eyebrow raiser is the weird advertising of the game on the PlayStation Store. Likely this was set up to begin sometime in July as well. I mean, it's the very beginning of the launch month. There is going to be weird stuff that pops up with MultiVersus until the trailer and beta drop. Now, finally, for some good news, I do agree that we'll probably see the MultiVersus release before the Comic-Con panel. I don't think they'd do a making of panel for a game that's not even out yet. It's pretty likely we'll see the game drop before July 21st. And the final point I see people making, which is probably the best point for an early release that exists, is that the EVO signups close on July 9th. It'd be ideal to let everybody play the game before they decide if it's worth taking EVO weekend off from work, booking a flight, and then booking a hotel. Yeah, that just makes a ton of sense. Although I need to remind you guys that this is not an official EVO tournament, this is a developer-hosted side event with limited spots. Also, if the open beta was dropping this week, they'd have more than enough time to balance a lot of the characters before EVO. There would be no need for the open beta character ban that's currently in place. To me, that character ban is pretty damning evidence that we won't be seeing the open beta release at the beginning of the month. And let's also not forget that every single playable build of the game was released after the first week of the month. Tech Test 1 had the earliest release by far and still only started on December 10th. Tech Test 2 started on February 25th at the very end of the month, and the closed alpha started on May 19th and it ran through the end of May. I think it's a little optimistic to think the open beta will drop in the very first week of July. So when is it dropping? Well, let's take a look at a calendar. I highlighted the days I think the open beta could release in blue, and then I highlighted the days I think the trailer could release in green. I really don't see the game releasing any sooner than this, but who knows, I could easily be wrong. Maybe we do get something this week. Let me know when you guys think we'll be getting the trailer in beta in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe for more MultiVersus content. I am going to go back to character rosters in my next couple of videos. And with all of that said, this has been Nosy Boy, and I'll smell you guys later.